and thank you for joining us. I'm Janice Klein's Marketing Manager for AOE, and today I'm talking with Thomas Van Dam, engineer and principal in the Transportation Research Group at NCE. His area of expertise is concrete pavement design, materials, repair and rehabilitation, and performance with a general emphasis on concrete pavement sustainability. Tom, thank you for talking with me today.
Oh, you're welcome. This is great. The current emphasis is clearly on greenhouse gases and as they relate to climate change. Yeah, diamond grinding in particular is one of the most useful of all tools. And we built a lot of pavements at one time. We didn't have dowel bars, thought we were saving money. And what happened is that these faulting developed. And even though structurally these pavements were in really good shape, they just became very rough. And we found out if we diamond ground them smooth, that within a very short period of time, their roughness came back. What folks realized is if you came in and slotted in, where you actually cut slots across the joints and then placed dowel bars in those slots, and then basically a partial depth repair material, all of a sudden we've actually installed load transfer across those joints. And now when we did the diamond grinding, it would stick, it would stay smooth. With diamond grinding, we can actually come in now and plane off the surface roughness and go from what may be a very rough surface, let's say an RII of 180 or more inches per mile, down to even 80 or 90 inches per mile or even less. The other things that we would focus on are the broader environmental impacts, the social impacts of our decisions with roadways, and then ultimately the cost impacts. And so all of the things that we need to do need to be cost effective. And so when we look at sustainable solutions, they really have to be balanced between those three legs of the stool. So look at the economics, look at the environmental impacts, and then look at the social impact of the roadway. Rolling resistance is something that all of us intuitively understand. All of us are acutely aware of fuel consumption these days, the prices of fuel, and as we're, motoring down a pavement, we can recognize under different circumstances we're getting different economy, fuel economy. Probably the most important one of those three is that roughness. If you're driving along and you're picking up in the vehicle and you're picking up road noise, makes it tough to jam to the tunes you're listening to. But more so, the surrounding communities are negatively impacted by noise from the pavement. And certain frequencies actually are quite annoying and actually have health effects. And so those of you that are somewhat acute observers of your pavement surfaces as you're driving will notice that we have transitioned away from transverse tining. And now you'll see newer concrete pavements are either longitudinally tined or they are ground and grooved to dampen noise.
Have you had experience with NGCS?
Yeah, that's a great segue. I guess I should have expected that question, but yes, this was really, that surface was a result of research that I described that was conducted on noise. And what they found is if you kind of create a really flat surface through a diamond grind and then groove it, you will create a surface that's actually very, very quietest and one of the quietest surfaces you can create. Really, the predominant safety issue is skid resistance. So we talked about rolling resistance in that macro texture. Well, we need texture in order for when we apply the brakes on a car, that the car doesn't hydroplane, that the car or the vehicle is able to stop within a reasonable amount of distance. And so the characteristics of that pavement surface that contribute to skid resistance are both the ability to rapidly drain moisture from the surface, and then to provide that texture that will grip that tire as we apply the brakes. And again, on a concrete surface, we obtain this through the tining that I had mentioned. And also later in life, if we start to lose that, diamond grinding. So something like a diamond ground surface and diamond ground and groove, such as in the next generation concrete surface, have excellent skid resistant drainage capacity, and then also skid resistance. When you drive, you can sometimes feel like your headlights are getting sucked up into the blackness of the surroundings. And that really creates a safety issue for headlights and also any exterior lighting that might be being provided. And so very dark surfaces will have a tendency to absorb more light than a lighter surface, and the efficiency of your headlights are greater on a lighter surface. If you can imagine, you could have a concrete pavement that's like 40 years old even, that is pretty rough and tired. And with this process of concrete pavement restoration, in the end, we can have something that rides as if it were new. And that will last for, another decade or more before we maybe have to diamond grind it again. So it's really the kind of the final technique that pulls it all together.
Well, thank you, Dr. Van Dam, for taking the time to sit down with me and talk with me about all this wonderful information. It's very informative, and I'm sure our audience would agree. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and like I said, the last thing I'll plug that that new preservation guide. We covered those things very quickly. That preservation guide, it's extremely valuable, and definitely download it and enjoy it.
All right. Thank you.